Welcome to Ticket Playbook, back to school. We're going to talk about some school programs, school ideas, things that you've worked on in the school realm that have been successful. So I know we have some others that are still joining. So hang on, I'm going to let them in and then we can get started. Feel free to chime into the chat, your name, your team, so we can network together post call. So don't be afraid to do that. But I guess let's just jump in and get started. Let's talk about some successful promotions. I know we can here on the Spinzo side share some of the things that we have done or we've seen on the platform. I guess not what we have done, but what we've seen on the platform. But I'd love to hear from you guys. What are things that are working in the school realm? It can be big, small, new organizations, new niches that you've found. What has worked for you guys? Not all at once. Anyone? Anyone want to share? No?
Hi all, yeah, I can share.
Thanks,
Um,
Justin.
yeah, I'm Justin with the Anaheim Ducks. What has been successful for me personally has been reaching out to teams um, for my respective sports. So like hockey teams in the area that play ice hockey more or less for the schools and whatnot. So
Okay.
um, obviously a little more interest when they play that respective sport, and we have a lot of fan experiences that utilize their talents, quote unquote, like being able to skate more on the ice during the intermissions after the game. So just fun stuff like that. We've expanded it into colleges with like club teams like USC and UCLA. We had their annual um, rivalry match this year as well. So just
Awesome.
those types of events that have brought in a lot of popularity and interest.
Now, Justin, when you're doing those types of events, are they teams then going and expanding to their entire school, kind of like being the mouthpiece for you? Or are you then, once you've got those hockey teams on board, engaging the entire school?
A little bit of both. I
Okay.
would say primarily, so our team is split up with territories. My colleague primarily works with schools in general. However, I work with the hockey teams, and so what I do is I
Okay.
utilize that to grow and help him out as well as myself out in that scope. So we'll work together to essentially grow those out. Initially starting with the hockey team since that's my territory, and
Hmm.
then expanding it to larger group territories in that world.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Justin. Appreciate
Yeah, of
it.
course.
Anyone else? Any key programs that are successful for you with schools or through schools?
Yeah, I can jump in here. Sorry, joining in late. So I'm Jason with the Sacramento River Cats, and now A's came on board in West Sacramento. But for myself,
Awesome.
yeah, exciting times. For myself, I do oversee the school groups with the River Cats, so more of that side, speaking to that. We do school days here, so make it easier with some baseball, so some field trip opportunities. Um, in addition to that, just opening up the opportunity for individual purchasers with the Spinzos, adding a fundraiser element on that. That's really been like a big selling point to attach the fundraiser point to really make a benefit with a larger group outing and such for that. But those are the main things I usually see the Spinzo leagues working best for me with the schools.
Awesome. Jason, so with baseball, because you guys span summer, are you seeing a lot more schools do end of school year events, or are they doing like fall type events, like back to school events, or do you see both?
Yes, the answer to that one, more so the end of the school year, with our
Okay.
season starting end of March, going into April and May. So like our more popular school days are the kind of last weeks of May. So towards the end of the school year after testing is done. So I see that. And then more so trying to build out more of the back to school night. We've had kind of attached that title to a day, and it's like the last Friday of our season. So just looking to be able
Okay.
to expand on that, and then looking to maybe tie in more of that, build that out as a field trip day. But for most part, back to school day was just like, hey, just come back to the ballpark. We got some fun things going, and now looking to build that out into more of the educational route, but more so end of the school year
Okay.
for schools.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing.
Jason, I know logistically for like those field trip days, the schools have a lot to coordinate with like transportation and stuff. So is there any insight there on like how that's managed? Do they include like a small transportation fee for the buses in the ticket package, or how is that all broken out? Is that just on the school to coordinate, or how does that usually work?
Yeah, good question. With that, it is more so on the school scheduling, busing, and then it's on me, of course, to just be the best point of contact for logistics. Perfect place to park, pull up, and then drop off zones. But really, it's just our traditional parking passes, and then we communicate. I give them a map to where to go, but nothing really as a package per se. Maybe that could be something we can look into, but it is more on the schools with scheduling those arrivals and drop offs.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra logistics when you do the school day and it's during the middle of the school day. But I know they're successful, so.
Absolutely. Yep.
What about educator nights or tapping into, I know they've gotten towards educator nights as opposed to teacher nights because there's more than just teachers in the school. You've got your counselors, you've got your principals, I mean, there's so much. What are we doing uniquely for educator nights? Who's doing them? What are you seeing?
Hi, this is Nancy with the Spurs.
Hi, Nancy.
Hey, so for educator nights, we actually have rephrased the wording of it to be more inclusive of all the groups. So now they're designated as school employee appreciation nights, and that way custodial staff, front office staff, everyone else can feel like they're part of the night too. That's some of the feedback we got from a few seasons ago where they just thought it was only for teachers. But since
Yeah.
we've opened it up with rewarding it to school employee, we've got a lot more turnout from some of those other entities that are still within the schools.
Love that. Now, are you tracking which group responds? Like, do you know that, John is coming from a certain school and he's on the custodial staff or he's a principal? Or is that just, you're just opening it up and that you've just seen the numbers grow?
No, we're just opening it up and seeing the numbers
Okay.
grow. The only thing that we do track is district. So
Okay.
I like to see those metrics on like for us, like some of the bigger ones are Northside ISD, any ISD. So we like to make sure that when we're sending it to the district contact, that they're actually sending it out and then we can see district by district what's being sold. But no, not breaking it down further to where it's like I know what staff is actually coming out.
Gotcha. And then do you guys usually package an item, Nancy, with that? And if so, like what type of item have you seen be successful or received well by that group?
Yeah, so we've done various different things. We've done tote bags, we've done Spurs journals. This year we're doing a crew neck that says, I think it says Spurs Educator on there, very simple and
Okay.
sleek with like the logo on there. But we've done all sorts of types of value add, and yes, it does help to get more participation from them. And then the last thing is just an intangible asset, so a fan experience, whether it's a pregame courtside experience where they come and see the teams warm up prior to general public coming in, or post game where they come shoot free throws on the court.
Awesome. I love the verbiage that you guys have changed it to, school employee nights because I think that is important that, yes, the teachers are in the classroom, but there's so many different people interacting with students and making the schools run that they all deserve a pat on the back and some appreciation beyond just the teacher. Anyone else made those changes or, have those types of appreciation nights around schools that have worked well? I know I got asked one time if anyone is doing a bus driver appreciation, or if you just like, I wonder if that would be Nancy included. Do you guys reach the bus drivers? Because that's another group that needs to be appreciated. The stories that I hear from my kids that ride the bus, I think it's the wild, wild west on those buses anymore. So I think that's another area or group that we could definitely dive into and include. What about like student achiever offers or some of those like larger programs that go out to many districts where like, hey, if your student is getting a certain grade, grade point, they get a discounted or a complimentary ticket, or if they have perfect attendance. Does anybody have those types of programs out there?
We over here with the Brooklyn Nets, we actually have a attendance program called "See You in Your Seats,"
Oh, nice.
and it's a BOGO program for schools who during the semesters or quarters or however they want to break up the way that they track their attendance. We ran it with a test school this past season that for any student who had a 90% or above in the month of November received the discounted ticket offer. And we definitely had a lot of schools interested in that afterwards, just because it's a nice incentive to have for those
Yeah,
students.
that's awesome. I like the name of it too. See you in your seats. I like that.
Thanks.
The double connotation there. I like it. I like it a lot. Anyone else have programs like that or similar that they're running?
We have a couple different things, not necessarily a program like that, but two different branches that we reach out to within our schools. I'm Caitlin. I am in group sales with 313 Presents in Detroit. So we do things more on like the concert, family show, and theater things here. But we work a lot with our PTOs. So our parent teacher organizations that again, they'll utilize it for fundraising. They will use it in schools to book field trips, things like that down here. And obviously, we have so much flexibility because of the variety of our show, where it's not only sports. Because again, we do get some sports here too as well. But you know, we really see, because it can be such a diverse range of what we can do with the PTOs and building those relationships and stuff, they'll kind of guide it to you as far as what they need help with. But again, primarily they will use it for fundraising. But again, it goes out to all the parents, it goes to siblings, like they'll share it on their socials as well. So it could just be friends in the community. It can go again throughout the school to different admins, whatever the staff and teachers and such look like. Another thing though that we have good success with too is getting choirs to come down and perform ahead of these shows. But I mean, I feel like that can be translated to, for those of you that do work in sports, as long as your buildings would permit it, like if there's things around theme nights or holidays or things like that. Because I know we have seen it on the Red Wings side too. They've had it a few times, or with like um, what am I trying to think of here? They had it for like faith and family nights, things like that. I know they're steering, some places are steering more away from that, but it is ways to include it, especially around that holiday season and such too. And we usually get like hundreds that will come out for the choirs as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. I think that's a good point that you brought up. One of the questions I wanted to kind of throw out there is, who is the best contact at a school? And I think there's multiple answers to that. And Caitlin, you alluded to that. Like PTO is one. You can work directly with the principals potentially. You can go into the choir or the band or the dance or the cheer team or the athletic director. I mean, there's just so many different contexts. Has anyone found a sweet spot of who the right person is at a school that really kind of drives most of it? Is it the PTO, PTA, or does it just depend on the person typically?
I can say from our experience, I definitely think it's someone on the PTO, whether it's sometimes the presidents like to handle all of that. Sometimes it will be someone more in a secretary or treasurer role. Treasurer would be more if they also are the head of fundraising. And there are some PTOs that do have a fundraising committee. So that will depend. I have found in my experience, and even prior to my role here, I was a youth market director for the American Heart Association. And I found that 90% of the time, principals are just too busy. They're doing so much stuff, especially more on the admin side, or again, they're just so bogged down. with so many other
Mhm.
things that anything that has to do with this, like, yes, they will have to be brought in at some part during this process, especially to sign off on if it's a field trip, things like that. But honestly, like, so many times more than that, principals are going to be either really hard to track down or really hard to respond to you.
Yeah, good to know. It's good insight from your previous life with the American Heart Association. Other programs or like niche groups that have worked well? Or does anybody have questions for the group of, hey, like we're thinking about this type of a program, or have you ever done this? This, go ahead, Megan.
Yeah, we do a sports career education day
Yes.
every fall and then in the spring as well. And we've had a lot of success there for middle school and high school students, where they come in for a panel around 11 a.m. to like 1 p.m. And it's like a package with the corresponding game for that evening. So they get to come to the panel, and then that ticket to the panel allows them to come into the game that evening. We see a lot of success here. We also like have to work around a few things because usually it's during the weekday. Some of these students have jobs or sports or after school activities, but we always have schools that find use for those tickets, whether it's giving them to teachers or administration or even just the families of these students. But I would also say, I'm not sure about other like school systems, but I was relatively new to the New York DOE, but a lot of these schools here have what's called a parent coordinator, and they actually do a lot of the booking of events. So I'm not sure if there's other school systems out there that have this typical role, but that is usually the people we are in most contact with here.
Interesting. Okay, good to know. For your career night, is that typically middle school and high school students, or is it all high school students?
It's typically high school,
Okay.
but we've had a lot of high schools who will then come back to us the next year or the next session and ask if they can also extend the invite to their middle schools.
Awesome.
Just it is really all depending on kind of that career drive towards being able to even get that permission slip and day off or
Yeah.
like field trip from school. But I would say it is majority high school students.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. How many are you guys are doing like a singing event, like a Sing for Santa or a Spring Sing event? We've seen a number of those be successful, but I think they are quite the undertaking too. So just curious if anyone's doing that and has any tricks of the trade. No? Oh, go ahead, Christina.
Yep. So Christina here with the Denver Nuggets. We have done that in the past on our end, thanks to Erin Kennedy, who's now with the Rapids. I also see her on this call, so I'm going to let her chime in here as well. But looking to bring it back this year, we didn't have a game that fit last year, but it's where we invite choirs out mainly from elementary schools and have them sing a couple of holiday songs during our primetime spot. So we've sold hundreds, probably close to 1,000 tickets for just the performers. So rather than having everyone on the court, we reserve a few upper level sections that are right next to one another and have the kids sing from those areas and then go to their ticketed seats with their families after the pregame singing. It's like 2 songs. The most challenging part there, I would say, is just the logistics with that many young children and schools and getting them back to their parents after the fact. So still a work in progress. Have not perfected that yet. But that is a really great one. If you have a game around that holiday time frame when you can do that.
Yeah, and just to build off of that too, thanks for putting me on the spot, Christina. Just kidding. I was actually unmuting too. We do a spring sing here on the Rapid side of things, and it's a very similar concept, only obviously we don't have a game around the holiday season. So we do it in the spring, and we'll have the kiddos come and sing the national anthem. I was not over here yet for it last year. I know it sold, or this past season, I know it sold almost 2,000 tickets or maybe more. But we're kind of tweaking the program this year, and having the kiddos sing from their seats. Rather, we had them kind of all congregated on our North Bridge area, and I know that was a little bit of a logistical nightmare. So when I was over on the Nuggets, we did that, like as Christina said, for 4 years, and then when I was an Avalanche rep, I used to sell it too as well. So it's a great program, and basically it's just reaching out to all those schools. We used like our AI Conversica email outreach over here at the Rapids. On the Nuggets, we did mailers to all school districts with QR codes to sign up, and then have a rep reach out to them. So pretty easy outreach and an easy sell. We just used to frame it, or I used to frame it as a rep as like, make this your winter concert songs. And we'd pick like basic songs like Let It Snow, Jingle Bells. And that was pretty much, and it was probably the easiest sell I had as a rep. So
yeah, I love this concept. And two, the thing is that there's no limit really. I mean, there is obviously to the size of your arena or your stadium or whatever it may be, but you can really elevate this and grow it and make it very big. And I think it's also spans elementary, middle, and high school if you want. Depending, high school might be a little tough, but elementary and middle school, you could even look at preschools too if you are taking some very simple songs and using those as a song. So it could be really fun and really cute and gets everyone involved. So I love that one. Other promotions or, like nights like that we are not talking about yet that have been successful? I mean, I think your tried and true fundraising, fan experiences, those are always great in the school realm. But are there other ones? Anyone have any programs like assembly programs or like a math or a STEM program that gets put into schools that maybe is done even potentially outside of your department but helps drive ticket sales or opens the door for ticket sales?
Yeah, I can chime in a little bit on the River Cat side. It's not as extensive with like a hand-in-hand program, I'd say, but we do assemblies at the school campuses, free of charge, so that's always appealing as well. Come out there to have a good engagement with the kids and have the mascot come out as a surprise guest. But then having on in addition to that, this year we did implement a rewards voucher. So I know it was brought up here previously, like with the reading achievements. And essentially the reward voucher is good for a complimentary ticket, and then they can have an add-on for the group rate that we have in a certain day. And then that's another way to just drive, of course, this ticket sales, but a reward that the teachers and the schools can see fit, whether if it's merit-based, whether if it is academic-based or attendance-based. But that's kind of something we did this year, new hand in hand, that we saw some good progress with.
Awesome. Yeah, I know my kids get a voucher for reading month. So March they track all their reading, and then if they read a certain number of hours or books, I forget what the threshold is. This thing gets different every year, but they get a voucher for a local independent baseball team here in Michigan. And so that, again, they want to earn that voucher. It does motivate them. So I think anything like that you can do that's put out there that can motivate the kids, I think it's a great idea. Any other questions for the good of the group around schools or thoughts or comments? Because we're coming up on the end of half an hour. These go so fast. But that's good.
I guess the only other thing to chime in on, Denise, again, Christina from the Nuggets and basketball NBA, is if you have access to pregame court time. We do a series of high school basketball games during their season where the official high school sanctioned games are played on the Nuggets court between teams prior to our games here, and those are always a big driver. Teams look forward to it. So working with whether that's athletic directors or individual coaches from schools. If that's something teams have access to, that can be huge and a big fundraiser as well. So schools and teams really like to use it in that capacity, in addition to the experience on the court.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. Has anyone opened that up to like a cross team? So meaning like, yes, you know, the Nuggets go out and do very well and sell basketball, but has anyone ever sold something else on the court, like volleyball or anything like that? Christina, have you guys done that?
So not, but one of our schools, because they knew that the basketball team did it, they reached out to us about their wrestling team having the same opportunity.
I love it. Oh, that's
We-
right.
Yeah, we weren't able to get approval to put the big wrestling mats on the court. Our team is pretty cautious about that, but so we worked with our indoor lacrosse team to be able to do it
Yes, I remember that.
before one of their games. So that doing it on the basketball side led to wrestling as well.
Yes, that's a great one. Wrestling, and it's a huge growing group. The other one that like we were in a hotel in Phoenix and the entire hotel was full of martial arts group, and I know they have like competitions, like not just performances. So like that's another one that I think could potentially, depending on what the demands are, obviously you have to protect the court, but there's a lot of opportunity there. Or even we used to do a cheerleading competition when I was in Pittsburgh at the Pirates. We actually did it outside on the street. They would put down mats and we had this huge cheerleading competition. So there's a lot of that, or a dance competition. I mean, there's so many opportunities that you can do. Thanks for joining, Erin. All right, anything else for the good of the group? All right, well, thank you everyone for joining. Hopefully you sparked one idea, a way that you can tweak a program or a new opportunity that you can use in your market. As always, if you have questions, please reach out to us. We're happy to share contacts or share ideas to send you to the right people. And we will be back on board for one in September. I know it's gonna be a crazy time, but if you can carve out a half an hour to be on our Ticket Playbook calls, we always appreciate it. Feel free to invite friends in the industry. They don't have to be Spenso clients. Remember, these are open to anyone and everyone that wants to discuss and share group sales and ticket sales ideas. So without further ado, thank you everyone, and we will see you soon.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you guys.
Thank you.